Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the Lunchtime Special Podcast, Hit and Run, hosted by your two favorite heavy hitters, Ronan and Fearless. This is where real talk meets real life as these two powerhouses break down the latest in entertainment, travel, relationships, and finance. You know it's going to be raw, unfiltered, and straight up blunt. When these two get together, you better believe truth bombs are dropping and bars are being laid down. So grab your lunch, settle in, and get ready for 60 minutes of pure fire storytelling and hard-hitting insight on the events of today from their point of view. Buckle up, folks, sit down and grab your lunch. It's about to get real.
Ronan, what's up, brother? How you doing? Got another
doing
quick
well, doing
lunch.
well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're doing a quick hit and run here tonight or today. And it's on an interesting subject. And it might be a subject that we might be experiencing here by 2050 in America.
Yes. We found out that Kevin Samuels was wrong. Kevin Samuels was completely wrong.
Also, you have to explain how he was wrong.
Well, Kevin Samuels said, grow, he said,
grow old. Yeah, but unfortunately,
you die alone, get a cat and die alone.
Yeah, but we're living longer. See, that's the problem. You know,
but over in Japan, they not dying alone, and they not getting a cat or a dog. They just shoplifting their way to out alone.
They just going to jail to get company, which is wild and crazy.
I'm gonna read this quick intro that I got from CNN, and then we can jump into it so everybody knows what the show is about today. As we said, Kevin Samuels was wrong. The people are not buying cats and dying alone. They're actually doing some shoplifting to get in jail. So just like it's gonna, like you said, probably in 2050, it's going to take us over. But in Japan's aging population is reshaping their whole entire prison system and basically turning their prison systems into nursing homes. So in Japan, the elderly inmates, especially the women, they're convicted of petty crimes like shoplifting, things like that. And they're actually shoplifting so that they can find structure, some healthcare and companionships, because they're so lonely that they have nobody to talk to, that they get out of jail and then they'll do something just to go back. So the isolation and poverty, a lot of them are poverty. They didn't want a man. They didn't need a man. And they found out what it was like to have a man. And it's talking about how, they're stealing food just to get into prison. They don't have any family support. They feel lonely. And then the sad thing is this puts them around the other inmates who are also old. So they feel like they got security with society, and it helps them out. So Japan is trying to change this and trying to change the prison reforms to try to offer like post-prison support and give them housing benefits. But the aging population and the need for elderly care, once they're getting older, no one is helping them out. And they feel, they don't have companionship. A lot of them didn't have children, don't have anyone to fall back on. So it's just them out there in this complete world. So the prison population is growing just because the women are getting older, not dying alone. They just want to die in prison, which is kind of crazy. It's gotten to that point.
So let me go ahead and play this video, and it's backed by CNN, basically what you almost said, but it's going to go in a little more detail, and then we can go ahead and start this discussion.
I don't hear no sound with that one, my brother. You got some sound playing?
Yeah, let's turn it all the way up too. And I have the shared screen set for, hold on, I'm gonna reshare it again.
Yeah, better than being homeless, I guess. They used to make fun of men. They say 3 cots and a, 3 squares.
And a hot. Let's see if you can hear this. Sorry.
It's Japan's biggest
women. Can you hear that? Can you hear that now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Prison.
Sorry about that. Fair use.
I celebrated my 81st birthday in here.
Tochigi Women's Prison is on the front lines of Japan's loneliness epidemic among seniors. 1 in 5 inmates here are elderly. You see it in the wrinkled hands gripping walls. Hear it in the slow shuffle of walkers. And you feel it too. A strange serenity blankets this place. Security more a formality than a necessity.
I don't know why I keep stopping.
First and only security checkpoint that we've gone through to enter this prison. Inside, we see inmate after inmate with gray hair, bent backs. The 81-year-old prisoner, who's anonymous to protect her privacy, tells me she's here for shoplifting. But it's not her first time behind bars. 20 years ago, she was in for the same crime, she says. The only way she knew how to get back to prison.
When I got caught this time, I thought, I don't care what happens to me anymore. I want to die. I don't care if I live or not. I can't tell you how difficult it is to be alone.
Japan's crime rate is one of the lowest in the world. But its prison system is now flooded with senior inmates who increasingly see prison as home.
There's no one to take care of them outside, and they're repeatedly abandoned. They come here because they don't have anywhere else to go.
The Japanese government says the country's aging population means more lonely seniors and a surge in elderly crime. In the last 20 years, the number of elderly inmates has nearly quadrupled, and it's changing life here for everyone.
Now we have to change their diapers, help them bathe, eat. It feels more like a nursing home than a prison full of convicted criminals.
This inmate, in for drug use, tells me she earned her nursing license behind bars after spending so much time caring for elderly prisoners. We are shown a workshop where guards don't bark orders, but help elderly prisoners with their medicine, making sure they don't hurt themselves. Meals are taken in cells, alone and in silence. But for some, just knowing someone's nearby is enough.
My son tells me to disappear. He says, I don't care when you die. They are very good people in this prison. I am very thankful that in prison, I can live a regular life every day.
With no one and nowhere to go, some of Japan's elderly are choosing a life of crime, as freedom is a cheap price to pay for the chance to not die alone.
That is crazy, man. They say, winter is coming.
It's already here in some countries.
Yes, man. And it's sad. These are probably, I don't want to stereotype none of these women, but I will say probably in the United States, these are going to be the same women that say, I don't need a man. Yeah. I can do it all by myself. I'm independent. I don't need anyone. And this is what's going to happen. They have no companionship. Nobody wants to be around them. It's gotten to the point, I never thought it would get to the point where someone feels, and they're probably not even stealing to steal. They're probably stealing just to get caught, taking something in plain sight just to get caught to say, hey, let's go. The prison guards are like, look, we ain't got to worry about them escaping. We just got to worry about giving them drugs and nursing them.
And changing their diaper.
And changing the diaper. Man, one girl said that she did so much help with the elderly, she got a nursing degree. So this is what the world is coming to. How you feel about that, man? How you feel?
Man, I mean, it's nuts, but it's forecasting what we're going to deal with here in America too. And I was running some rates. The average birth rate back in the 60s was about 23% per thousand, or 23 births per thousand people. It's down to 11%. But do you know our population is going to increase even though it's down 11%? By 2040, we're going to have 373 million. But the thing is, we're living longer. So you don't need an increased birth rate if you got people living a hell of a lot longer. So you're going to have a lot of single individuals that are not married. And women live longer than men, unfortunately, ladies. This is why when Kevin Samuel says, buy a dog and live alone or die alone, it's because even within a marriage, men do live longer. But women are already known to care for themselves more, go to the doctors more on a regular basis, and therefore have a little less stress than most men do. So they live a lot longer than we do. So in that respect, you're going to still have in America that similar kind of look where they go. Some families are not loyal. They're disassociative. The nuclear family has already broken down. So what is that picture going to look like around 2040, 2055? You know,
well, now people are opting to have just the one child. So, that's a lot of burden. Usually when you had, like, my grandmother had 8 children. So the burden kind of got spread around. It wasn't just one person trying to care for the family. It was kind of a group issue trying to care for it. That's one. And number two, what usually would happen is, like, say I'm working, I'm older. Usually if I was smart and they married a smart person, I'd have like a 401k or some type of life insurance so that when I did die, because, most likely I would die faster or sooner than the woman, that she had something to go back on to. She had some kind of wealth, some kind of style to do that. But now a lot of them have lived in isolation so long that, they don't have friends. They don't have any of that.
Exactly. That's if they're living alone. If you have a husband, and I used to sell cars back in the day. I used to work for Victor Buick, GMC, and Oldsmobile. And the thing with the Oldsmobile is an old reliable, or Buick Oldsmobile. And most senior citizens would buy a Buick. They're just used to the name. They liked it. It was the phrase on the lot was, get them in the car before they die. But a lot of these senior citizens would get these cars and make sure they were paid off, so their significant other would have a reliable vehicle. Okay. So in that same respect, when I'm in the insurance game, there's actually an insurance policy that rides along with your mortgage. Okay. And you can set it up in such a way that the death benefit pays the mortgage. By default, they're the beneficiary. So the policy decreases as you make your mortgage payment. Doesn't stay the same. So the premium drops on the life insurance policy that matches the amount owed on the loan for the house. So when you die, the house is paid off. You done already bought a car in cash. Now you're leaving your significant other in a decent situation. You know what I mean? And then you can have a secondary or third life insurance policy to make sure if you're incapacitated or something like that, those things would kick in. Your life insurance, not your life insurance, but your retirement plans and all those things. Yeah, we're talking about death. Unfortunately, it's the thing you have to look at even once we start getting older. We're in our 50s. So we're already in that mode of what are we leaving behind and how well prepared are we to make sure those funds and those resources are distributed evenly and equally amongst the people that we love and care for.
Now, Melissa brought up a point. I'm going to counter it, though. She said, husbands die, though. Should women have a backup plan? Well, the counter to that would be men are going to die sooner. So unless you're getting there a young man, it's going to be a problem. I might say that maybe it's better that the man has more than one wife so that when he dies, she has at least companionship. That would be the only way. So she's not alone. They got two women in the house that have grown up together, kind of like best friends. They understand each other. They're older. They have someone to be with. But, other than that, it's just those people who I want to be independent. I don't need anyone. And they live like that. And we can see it. The thing is, Japan is forecasting what's going to happen in the United States.
Absolutely.
It's forecasting it. This generation where I don't need anyone and you can only do this. Because what happens is, you might be a woman that says, hey, I just need some money from a man. But eventually, I don't think that these women are really robbing for money. It's not about money. It's just, I'm so lonely. I go home and there's nobody to talk to. And what did the woman say? Even being in my cell alone, at least I know somebody's there next to me.
Somebody's next to me. Right. And I was reading the CNN
and that's what we're going to face.
I was reading that CNN news brief, and it was saying some people are wealthy, but they still stole, and they were even willing to pay the jails 20,000 to 30,000 yen a month, which is basically $130, $190 a month, just to stay in the jail. They're going to pay the jail so they can stay. That's insane to me. Who wants to go stay in a jail cell when you're wealthy? And you have your own place.
Well, here's the thing. If you're wealthy and have no one to share it with or share your experiences with, it doesn't do anything. You're going on vacation by yourself. Exactly. You're eating alone at the table by yourself.
Exactly.
You wake up. So there goes the issue. So it's not about the money. And I think that's where And I've tried to tell people this, man. That's where they get it lost. It's these new boss babes and all of this. It's all about how much money I can get. And I try to say, I think I did it where a guy said the story was, if I gave you $10 million, would you be happy? The guy's like, yes. He's like, all right, but that means you can't wake up tomorrow. Would you still be happy? And he's like, no, I wouldn't trade the $10 million in order to wake up and have my family and my health. And he said, then why aren't you waking up every day like your life is worth $10 million? You should be that happy. And I think we're substituting that, man. We're substituting the fact that we rather have the wealth. And I did a show on it. So when you laying in your deathbed, you're not going to think about all them chicks and all that. You're going to wonder, who is there with me? Who have I shared my life with? That's the important part.
So, I mean, we already got our first super chat. Thank you, Melissa, for the $1.99 super chat. This is why polyamory makes sense. It absolutely does. The law of the land is the thing that stops us from being who we really, truly were born to be here on this earth. You know, the law of the land says you can only have one wife unless you're a specific religion. And certain countries it's acceptable. And I agree with you. You should set your significant other or others up to win. If you love them, if you don't love them, you're going to leave them to fail. If you love them, you should be setting up, as a man, you should be setting up something that you can see in the future. If you were not there, you could still be that provider, maybe not so much of a protector because you're not there anymore, but you can at least make their life comfortable to where they got at least 20, 30 plus years on that they don't have to worry about paying a thing after you're gone. They can focus on raising your children. Your children will have enough money so that they can go to college. These are the things I talk about and consult with my clients about when we start talking about life insurance and what that looks like, and what their outlay on their bills are, what they see as the future for their significant other if they weren't here. These are the type of things you have to think about. And polyamory is absolutely a solution to some of the issues when it comes to loneliness and other things, where two women can actually produce and do a lot more better things in a household than one.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that for dudes who just joined, I'm going to do a little quick video to summarize what we're talking about. So hold on a second.
By the way, while you're queuing that up, I have a poll in my room, and the poll is basically saying, how long do you want to live? And I have a range from 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, and 90 to 100 plus. And right now, everybody's aging around 80 to 100 plus. There's 33% between those two polls, and the other two are 17%. So go ahead and keep on hitting that poll, and we'll read out how long people want to live by the end of this. Go ahead.
Well, see, mine would be the quality of life. And that woman, 80 something years old, but how is her quality of life? Let me play this real quick. I'm on round one. Oh, I'm not seeing it. There we go.
Here it comes.
Sorry about that.
Japan is renowned for its ageing population, home to some of the world's oldest individuals. But an epidemic of loneliness is driving elderly residents to commit crimes in order to seek refuge behind bars. Inside Japan's largest female prison, 1 in 5 inmates are elderly. Over the last 2 decades, the number of senior inmates has nearly quadrupled, turning these prisons into de facto nursing homes. Prison guards now double as caregivers, helping inmates bathe, eat and manage their health. One prison officer told CNN some citizens are even willing to pay up to $300 a month just to stay incarcerated. Petty theft tops the list of offences, with more than 80% of elderly inmates jailed for stealing. The Japanese government has attempted to introduce reintegration programs, but for many, the security of life behind bars far outweighs the uncertainty of life outside.
That's crazy, insane, man.
Yeah, that's insane, man. And unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that the families are like this. And this is the same country, by the way, that are giving homes away. Japan, if you move over to Japan, there are certain cities in Japan that have abandoned homes, and they're willing to have you come over and live in those homes, because what has happened is some of these older people have died in these homes. The families have already moved closer to the cities. They don't want to be inconvenienced by whatever the property tax is on that house. They don't have any care for the traditions of whatever is left in that house. They rather leave that house to whoever wants to take it, or let the land grow up around it. So there are places in Japan right now where you can literally get a house damn near for free given to you if you decide to move to Japan.
Yeah. And the real reason I wanted to bring this subject up is not to really talk about Japan, but to talk about the United States, what we're doing to do it. One, we're having fewer births.
Right.
So that means we're going to have less family
11%.
members.
We're at 11% right now versus 23% back in the 60s.
Fewer marriages. People aren't getting married, aren't staying together. You know, I want to live in separate houses. I want to live over here. You live over there. I don't want any of our stuff intertwined. I don't need the man mentality. I can do it all by myself. Just give me my money. and they think that that's going to work. So, you know, let's bring it back to the United States. How do you think this is going to affect us in 20 years, 30 years?
Well, like I was saying, the numbers I was giving out earlier are projections all the way out to 2055.
My goodness.
So while we're living longer, you know, society itself is not going to have enough people contributing into the Social Security benefit and senior benefits, because you need that many people working as you have in the retirement area that are collecting on Social Security. So for some of you younger ones, yes, investing is something that you're going to need to do. And for some of us older ones, where we might not even be able to get into Social Security before it's gone, we need to have a couple nest eggs sitting around. That's why I have at least 4 income streams right now, and I'm trying to get to 7. So I'm not even safe at 4. I want more. You know what I mean? So
and,
go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering, you know, you got that, but what about the income stream? But what about the companionship? Because, you know, men have been taught, and this is sad that we've been taught.
You already know. We already are the mindset. We want to be married, and we will marry.
No, but we are okay. I don't want to say okay.
A lot
we're
of
okay
guys
with dying alone.
Right. But a lot of guys are in the Passport Bro universe and all these other incel, the black pillars, and all these guys that are doomsdayers. You can keep FAFO, as they say, you know, and you're going to find out later in life, all this independent, I don't need a woman even type of mentality is going to wind up leaving you alone, just like that chick that's going to have the dog or the cat living in a house alone. You got 2 alone people living separately when all you had to do was be a little more approachable and a little nicer. And y'all could have had somebody maybe that y'all could have groomed with until the day you died as men. And like I said, we're the disadvantaged ones. We usually die first. And then that woman's just a little less lonelier by time you pass away, and you've set her life up, at least, that maybe y'all had children, y'all have great relationships with your children. Your children are going to come in and take care of the mom until she dies. Matter of fact, when I come back to America, when I build my house here in Texas, I plan on moving my mom down here. And rightly so, when I go to the Philippines, if in fact I do decide to marry this chick, her family will be set up the same way.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to really touch on is men, we learn at a young age to just we can be by ourselves. That's why men can be homeless. There's nothing out there to help us. So understand, we kind of learn to die alone. I think it's the women that have always had that connectiveness that have not learned how. But, you know, in this society, this is what's going to happen. And we don't have anything set up for it to help out in any sense of that word. And I think what they're doing is, you know, I don't think, stealing is bad, but they try to just do it as a petty crime.
They're trying to do the minor thing. They're not committing like major offenses. They're not going out and killing and graping and doing any of those things. They're just doing minor petty crimes. But that petty crime in Japan gives you a 10-year long sentence.
But half of them are happy like that. If you're 81, that's why they're like, hold up.
10 years not long enough. They living longer than that. They're like, yo, we're paid to pay. We don't even want to get out.
Yeah, Stephen Smith says the new retirement model. Isn't that
Right.
shame that we've gotten to the point
Yeah.
that we just don't have that? Where did we go wrong? We used to have the village that raised the children, or you had a
Right.
village of
Well,
people you talk to. Now
you break
we're
down
all
the nuclear
individuals.
family, you make everybody disassociative where you can't talk to nobody's child and correct them in public. The parents get all aggressive and mad for you trying to deal with their children. The teachers can't even teach without the parents saying anything to them. And then if you do say something to them, all of a sudden they threaten the damn teacher. You can't, but you can, but you can't, but you can't. It's so much back talking and all kind of counterproductive goddamn policies that are going on. This is why our community and basically the country is all backwards.
Yeah. And I've seen it, and we're talking about money, but man, it's healthcare. I know some guys that I wouldn't say I know. Let me not say that. I've seen videos of men who have been arrested, wrongfully convicted, spent like 40 years in jail. So that's, they go in when they're 30 and they get a 40-year sentence, and then they get a compassionate release, or, they get out. And what happens? Now you out. You don't have no medical care. You don't have medical care. See, at least in prison, they give you your medicine. They give you that on a daily basis. You don't have any of that. You don't have anybody.
And you're so far behind as far as society norms. You are a fish out of water. You don't even know how to get along in this new world that they're dealing with, that they've been in that long. Hell, I came out of a marriage after 9.5 years. I'm like, what the fuck is really going on? From what I was dealing with in my marriage before, when I got out, I was like, yo, this world is crazy. What are these women doing, man? They literally throwing themselves at you. It ain't nothing about courting no more. And then if you don't say you're actually in a committed relationship and y'all are exclusive, chick could have 15 dudes in her phone and just cycling you in, cycling you out.
I think I brought it up before with the second statistic, or people who had STDs, and you would think, oh, that's the teenagers, that's this. No, it was the old people that was in nursing homes. So some of these guys paying the Social Security check to get some chick off the street to come in, and then that guy, he probably the only one alive inside of the nursing home, so he catering to all the women inside the nursing home.
Right.
And then he's spreading the STD to the people.
Oh, yeah, because grandmas and granddads are still getting it on in those nursing homes, man. It's crazy work. But yeah, there's a lot of STDs going around in the senior living facilities, because these old guys are popping those blue pills and still getting it in.
But just think, that's where they got to meet, which is kind of crazy, because I don't know where we've gotten so disconnected from society. We don't, it used to be, you'd have people over your house, you have a pot roast, you have all this. A lot of people don't even know who their neighbors are. They have no idea who they're, when you're young, maybe you know the children, but once you've gotten to adulthood, who's your neighbors? Do they know your name? They know your children? They know anything about you?
No, because they're so disassociative. That's why I said it's no longer a village can raise a family, and your neighbor can't halfway talk to you, let alone your child. They can't correct you. Hell.
Exactly. So do you think it's also bad that we don't have as many children anymore? Because that was the support system. That was what kept the people going,
And see, that's why I like certain cultures, because the cultures actually get into supporting of the family. Like even with your family and your wife, they wanted to fly out and greet and help your wife for the first month or so of her birth. And my mom, every time I had a kid, man, my mom was on a plane for 3 months. She stayed with us. She helped my wife through, whatever she needed to have. She took care of the house. She didn't get in anybody's way, but she was just there as a guide and an assistant or a nurse to help my wife through those first 3 months of readjusting to having another child, to getting back to her normal state and all those things. My mom did that. So I grew up in that type of family and I was able to do that. With my wife not working, I would always bring my mom out every birth. My mom did not miss a birth, whether they were born in Hawaii, California, and she was in Kansas. It didn't matter where they were born. My mom was there for the birth and stayed for 3 months. And I paid all expenses. So I was able to keep those. I was able to keep those traditions. And that's what I look for in a woman. I want her family to be able to and want to be involved within the inner workings of the extended family unit. I'm not saying uncles and aunts. I'm saying immediate family, moms and dads. brothers and sisters. We can all
we
get
don't
along.
have that.
Right.
So
And it's
it
hard to
used,
find.
you know, and now even if you have, you know, it used to be back in the day, you had step siblings or something like that. They were just part of the family. Now it's not. So I'm
Hey,
just thinking when
Stephen
it gets
Smith,
to,
the Cash Apps is at the bottom of the screen that you're looking at. Both of our names are right there. So if you wanted to send a Cash App to either myself or Fearless, you can see them right there on the screen at the bottom. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you know, one thing we had was rising healthcare, man. Who's going to pay for that?
Right.
We don't
Well,
have
Medicare is still in place, so thank God for that. And we don't know how long that's going to last, depending on what, you know, the current administration is doing. I'm not even going to say the man's name because it's the whole administration. That man can't do anything without everybody else's help and pushing different policies along down the road. So whatever the current administration is doing right now. Now, they did say they're reinforcing Social Security right now and medical aid for senior citizens. Matter of fact, just heard that this morning. Supposed to be some type of increase that he signed into the executive order that's supposed to be executed to shore up spending for seniors when it comes to I don't know if it's going to be the Social Security part or the Medicare part, but there is something coming on the pipe to reshore that up.
And just to reiterate what we did, we showed that Japan's aging population has actually quadrupled their prison system, where the elderly are now doing petty thefts, stealing, and things like that, just so they can go back to jail or go to jail to have companionship. The prison guards are no longer guards. They're basically nursing aid people, changing diapers, helping with medicine. But that is the problem. I want to know who has a solution, because this is the problem in Japan. It's coming to the United States.
So Matt Villain, you crazy. Hey, first of all, it ain't you getting with granny. It's old grandpa getting with granny. Old grandpa's still stroking in those nursing homes, man. And unfortunately, because they think these old people are not having sex, you know, them getting examined in that area is not necessarily a priority for a lot of these senior doctors, and they're transmitting sexually transmitted diseases within those facilities. But yeah, nobody's getting with grandma and granddad like that. It's them two getting together while they're in these different homes.
Correct. So we talked about the problem. I want to know what some solutions are. Melissa said the solution is to be poly.
Yeah, that's one. And like I said, start including the family again. Reunite families being unified again to where you're bringing them back. And like I said, my mom is going to be more than welcome to be in my home when I come back to the States. Her parents are going to be more than welcome in our home because, hell, they're built-in babysitters. If we want to go do something, we have kids.
But that's your mom.
You know,
the problem is we got dysfunctional people that don't even get along.
They got to go and fix that. They the ones got to go fix their own relationships. Can't nobody give a set rule on how you're going to fix your relationship with your family. You have to go work those things out. And I'm sorry, maybe you have to have extended family. Maybe it can't be the ones that are your blood, because every time you look at it, family don't necessarily mean they family because they your blood. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you pick who your family members are truly outside of your blood. Like the brother that I had on the show a couple weeks ago, Jerry. I've known Jerry for almost 30 plus years, bro. He's a brother to me. He's seen me married twice. I've seen him married twice. We've gone through ups and downs. If anybody knows me better, it would be him. You know, so you have to figure out and pick and choose wisely who your true friends are. I have associates, and then I have very few friends in my life that I can say that are truly my friends. You know, you need to either figure out who those guys are, especially as men, because we have very few people that we can trust with everything that we do in our lives.
Exactly. So we're still looking for some other solutions, because there's going to be a gap, man. There's going to be this gap right here that I just see it. You know, it may be helping out with the young folks.
Maybe we can get some people in the chat to suggest that. We're at 34 minutes on the time zone, but I want to read what Matt Villainy was saying. He goes, no, that's not what I meant. I'm the grandpa. I'm not trying to get with somebody. He's trying to get with somebody younger, like a younger caretaker. He goes, I don't want no. That's what he meant. He didn't mean that he wanted granny even as a grandpa. And that's true. Most older men are going to want younger women, even as they're older. As twisted as we are, yes, we're going to want somebody older, not somebody our same age. So unfortunately, it's grandma that's the one that's going to have to find an F-boy and throw that money around a little bit to get that same tender love and care that we can get just based on our status and whatever we're projecting as income.
Oh, we're going to have to pay for it too.
Oh, yeah, I just said income and status. That's got to come with being a senior. You know what I mean? But it's a little more acceptable for a woman to want to jump on that versus a male that's going after a cougar, you know, especially one of a certain age.
Man.
That's looking her age, not somebody that's a cougar and maybe looking 20 years younger than her real age. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Because you got some of those out there who look damn good for their age.
And it's just not what your looks like. You figure, even I take like Halle Berry. Halle Berry done can't get with anybody. She married one dude, and that dude got her on child support. Married another dude, that person got her on child support. You know, she in her 50s. She's still by herself.
Yeah.
Janet Jackson waited till she was 50 to have a kid. I mean, now Janet Jackson, when she was the all that and everything, everybody wanted Janet Jackson. Now it's like, you know, well, why want you, Janet? You a grandma, not really. You a mom who's a grandma. I mean, you're not what you was, and who's going to take care of her?
Again, at that point, it's more about status than for a man. It's more about her status than it is maybe about attractiveness. But you know, some of these older women that have money, they take care of themselves really, really well. You know what I'm saying? And they got all the extras, the trainer. They can go and get their surgeries done and keep that youthful appearance, that Botox and everything else. But I mean,
that youthful appearance for whom? If they still lonely, they can't keep a man.
That's true.
You know,
especially if they come in with that youthful appearance, but they still got that toxic ass hurt mentality from all the years of what they thought were great relationships, but were being abused or claiming that they were being abused, but they were just making bad choices.
When you talk about Lisa Ray, she is 60 something, and Vivica Fox saying, I still want you to pay all my bills. I still want you to do that. And they still alone. They still have not figured it out. And, you know, it's just their fame that is kept them going, but they still haven't figured it out. And it's going to be to the point where they're going to be so old news that who wants them? You know, I mean, just imagine you're an older lady. You know, me and we've kind of been, you know, we're accustomed to being separated, but you're older. You don't have any children to come around. You don't know how to cook because you ain't never cooked. So you ain't cooking for nobody. You don't know how to clean. You're never cleaning for nobody. You just watching Housewives of Atlanta, I guess, all the time. Is that what it's come down to?
Hey, yeah, they racing home to watch all these reality shows of all these effed up younger chicks. And all they're saying to themselves is, we taught them well. And they're all dysfunctional. Every TV show you watch out there that's a reality show is all dysfunction. Ain't one show out there properly teaching people how to have a great, decent relationship. Not one. You know, and Matt Villainy said he saw a video today. She was the older, she was with the older brother. Don't know how old the video was though. So I'm thinking he's talking about Halle Berry.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, like I said, I really wanted to bring this up because I see this coming. If Asia's starting a trend where they got to start stealing to get there, it's coming to the United States. It's coming. Yeah. And it's going to be to the point where these older women, you know, because they're not going to be able to floss. They're not going to be able to floss or doing that anymore. What values do they have? Who's going to be wanting them?
I mean, Lisa Ray is a prime example. Look at how she looks still to this day. But that toxicity, all the wrong and everything that she says other men have done to her, and just her own toxic nature of what she has as an expectation for the type of man that she wants to be with, are so unaligned to what's available for her that she Vivica Fox, same thing. All these chicks are becoming, instead of cougars, old hags.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't know how to get along no more.
I was talking to them, they don't. And I was talking to, you know, I usually do a cruise a couple times a year. And I was talking to one of my agents. And she was saying that, you know, the trend now is for the older people just to have cruise life. Because that's like, you know, we were talking about like death, you know, how they set it up. She's like, oh, yeah, they got morgues on the ship. I was like, morgues for real? She's like, you just, And she was like, you don't know how many people die on this ship. I'm like, wow. And that's what's happening. They go on a cruise because they don't have any friends and companionship. They get somebody they can go to dinner with, games with. They can play the little bingo. You get different friends that come in. They playing bingo all the time and gambling. And they take the cruise ships until it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a valid point because I was just hearing there's a couple cruise ships right now that are setting up for global cruises. It'll take so many years or so many months to a year to get around the planet, and they're going to stop in multiple places. There are cruise ships right now that will rent rooms. Basically, you will jump from cruise to cruise to cruise, and you will stay on that ship for a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on what you want to do. So you're absolutely right. There are cruise ships right now that are having senior citizens literally living on these ships. So they're surrounded by people.
Yep. And that's the only way.
Salute to Black Man Travel for being in the room. He says, westernized societies do not shame women for being alone. Sure, this will work here in the States. I don't know if you can shame an American woman and anymore nowadays.
And I think they have the shame that was in Japan. That's a shame to be alone. And they still, I got to steal to eat. Man.
By the way, we're 40 minutes in. We got at least another 20 minutes. I did pin the panel is open. If you'd like to hit the stream link in my chat or either Fearless's chat, you're more than welcome to come up and give us a little input on what do you think we need to do in America specifically to change the direction that we're going right now when it comes to us living longer and the disagreeable nature of the two genders and everything else. Now that we're officially two genders, what do we need to do to fix this? What do we need to do to get back on track?
And just to reiterate for anybody who came in, we're talking about the population in Japan has been aging so much that the women have become so lonely that what they're doing is doing petty thefts in order to intentionally get caught just to go to jail. So they'll steal food or steal something so they can go to jail just so they can have companionship. So much so that when they're about to get released, some of them are saying, look, don't release me. I'll pay you to keep me in jail.
Up to $300 a month. Up to $300 a month to stay in jail. Yo, what?
And put your Cash App in the chat because it looks like nobody can read it.
They can't read the thing. Oh, wait a minute. Let me take that down. Can y'all see it now? It's at the bottom.
I think you just said it was too small, so just type it in. So it's gotten to the point where the people are stealing, and it says that the prison guards are now just becoming de facto nurses, where they don't even have to worry about the people escaping anymore. They're just nurses. They're changing diapers. They're just supporting. That it's gotten to the point where they're so lonely that they would rather be in jail than to be out free. And we're saying it's coming to the United States. How are we going to solve this problem? Drew, welcome to the show, my friend. What solution do you have?
I don't have a solution.
Oh,
Zero solution. Because let's be honest. I'm thinking about the way I grew up, and I remember my friend's dad saying, man, I miss y'all kids, man. And all the kids are gone and no more kids in the neighborhood. It needs to be a vibrant neighborhood. And eventually, you guys mentioned the men are going to more than likely die first. And there's going to be a bunch of women left around. Now, in that story, it didn't really tell us like, hey, were these women widows? Were they ever married? And these are probably traditional Japanese women. So they may have been married at one time. Correct. So not saying they were just single like the women that we're seeing here in America. Like, I'm going to be single in my 20s all up until I'm 80, 90 years old. I think those women probably had a significant other. And just like one of the women mentioned that she had a kid and the kid doesn't even, that's so disrespectful. I couldn't believe she said that her son was like, I don't care what happens to you. I'm like, wow. That's I. And
yeah, the kids are getting ruthless that way. They don't care what's happening to their parents. And here's the thing: I just said what I'm planning on doing with my parents. With my mother. What do you have a plan in works for your mama, your dad, or whoever may be alive if they got to a point where they couldn't, help themselves?
Yeah, my mom's always she's gonna have a room in my home always. Same with my girl, her parents. They always got a room. But I wonder if has a lot to do with us being like some of us being Christian society, because I was always brought up on honor your mother and parents, your mother and father, right? And
so that you live long on this earth. Yes, exactly.
Right. So that's what I was always brought up on, and that goes for my girl's parents too. I honor them. We have a child together and whatnot, but I honor them too. My I can call them father-in-law, mother-in-law, whatever, but they ask me for something, I'm rushing over there to do it. It's just what it is, but I honor them.
But what we talked about, Drew, was this, before, like my grandmother had 8 children. So there was no burden on one person. It was a group effort. Right. Now it's gone from 8 children to just 1 child. Now you have the burden for your, that's a big burden, especially for a man.
For your mom and your dad,
let me tell you this.
Are you bathing your mom? Are you doing this? Go ahead, sir.
Let me tell you this. I'm not going to say that all the children are going to help, because my mom had 10 brothers and sisters too. And my mother was the oldest daughter. And she was the one that was over there most of the time when my uncles were off doing what they do. And I had an aunt who she had her own family, younger daughter. But my mom, since I was whatever age to take care of myself, it wasn't like, okay, he can fend for himself. He can go get his food. He can go do what he need to do. I give him a few dollars. He can go to McDonald's. But I'm going here to take care of mama. I was like, cool, But I never saw my uncles and them jump in like that. If they did, it was like, hey, I'm here for the weekend. I may jump in here and there. But, that's the thing I think we mentioned before on many panels. When people die, man, things get real funny, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it firsthand, man.
I was just on a panel yesterday talking about how because I'm an insurance guy. I've delivered insurance checks. I've watched families tear each other up for that money and tear somebody else's legacy up, go through their house because they're the first one that found them in the house, and start tearing through their belongings and everything else.
And you talking about somebody taking care of somebody else too? Like, hey, and this is my personal situation that happened in my family. And I got to run real quick. I got to go pick up something. But I'll mention this. So when my mom, when my grandmother got ill, she was doing all the taking care of. And my mom has an older brother. So when my grandmother passed away, her older brother felt like, hey, I'm the oldest in the house, and y'all gonna go by what I say. Right. She was like, Mom already changed the will. This is what it is. And man, that caused a lot of friction, man. I remember that. God, that caused a lot of friction. But hey, brothers, I gotta run. I'll catch y'all with y'all.
Appreciate you stopping in.
Go ahead, brothers.
Yeah.
And I know this is a sad case, man, but I think there's a difference in how men care for their elderly parents and maybe how women care. If you have sisters compared to brothers, I think that, the women are just always around each other, where the men are kind of out there.
Right.
So it's been different. And I think, Black Man Travels was saying, maybe it's culture. He was saying family values.
It is
value the family, good friends ever. Just think about it. Check-in means a lot nowadays. How many times, and I'm guilty of it, you have family members or friends that you don't really call. You see them post on Facebook or something. You're like, oh, they okay. But you haven't called them in years. You ain't just put that one call to say, how you doing? We just think people are okay, and we don't have it. So it's going to come down to that, where we just don't have that relationship that we used to have.
Does your family have a family Facebook community page? group?
Yes. So we have a family reunion. So everybody posts on
My
that.
family does too, and multiple families, like my Parker side of the family versus my Trahan side of the family. You know, all of them have family Facebook groups where we all intermingle, and if there's a family reunion going on or something going on, we all stay in contact. New childbirth, so where we might not pick up the phone a lot, we still have a community where we can get in a room and have a conversation with the people or our family members that are on the same wavelength, because all your family ain't on the same wavelength.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all
Mhm.
might be in a community room, but there's certain ones you already know you're not going to approach, and there's certain ones that you know that you can.
No, and I think Black Man Travels is right when he says that, you know, people are just associates, but behind a typical boy-girlfriend relationship, most people don't have a relationship with family. And we say it, you know, you guys they travel out of the country and you pass away. Don't nobody even know you there. One, how they going to get you back? Two, you know, it's like nobody cares about you.
Right.
But I'm just seeing it going to come down to the American society. We just haven't aged there yet. We're not there yet. But in about 20 years, it's gonna it's
by
gonna
2044, 2050, by
Mhm.
20, that'll be right around the time that you're going to see a lot more of this happening here in the United States. The difference is we do have a social system. Now, if that social system, like we discussed earlier, collapses for whatever multiple reasons, then we can be right back in this same boat unless you have your own situation set up, you know, with retirement money, and then you have the love of your children. You birth these kids, man. I mean, the hell you birth them for if you're gonna have bad relationships with your own goddamn kids? You better fix that shit.
But not even that. I won't say bad relationship with kids because there is a generational gap. We just isolate ourselves, and I think Paul said this, and I'll just go with the last line that he says: "People mind their business." That might be an issue. When you mind your business, you isolate yourself. You're not around. You're not discussing things. You're not growing mentally. And woman even in the prison just said basically she's just waiting to die. Isn't that it? She's like, I'm just waiting to die. You know, I'm here, and when my time comes.
I'm gonna put this one up, and then I'm gonna put up Ray Money, because Ray Money always comes in with a snap comment. Black Man Travel says, bruh, 3 dudes have passed while traveling overseas, and no family member came to collect the body. And that's a shame.
Yes.
That's a shame. Now, Ray Money comes in and snaps up, because I have this poll in my room. I don't know if you saw it or not, but he said, who the fuck only wants to live till they 60, 70 years old? I'm trying to get at least 120.
But here go the thing, Ray Money. That's great that you're trying to get that. But how's your 120? How is your 70 to 80 look? Are you in a wheelchair? Are you can't move around? You decripulated? You don't have no friends? You just showing up to the nursing home every day and just going to your room and you just remote controlling it? So I think what we fail to realize even younger in life is the quality of life versus the quantity of life. And, you know, some people would rather be like, man, I want to be vibrant. And that's why I tell guys, don't wait till so old to travel. You might not be able to have those experiences and have fun and do those things anymore just because you're so old. So I want to have that quality of life. If I'm 120 and I can't remember nobody's name, and, you know, the only joy I get is when the nurse just taking my clothes off and wiping my poop out, that might not be the best of life for me. You know, I want to have some type of enjoyment, family around. I want to have big Thanksgiving dinners and big Christmases where, you know, I can open up the presents. So it matters that quality of life. And that's what we're talking about here, Ray Money. These people are living very long. And Japan has one of the people live the longest in the world. And the people there are living long, but they don't have a quality of life. They are so lonely and so sad that they would rather steal something to go to jail so that they can have people around them. So they're living the longest, but they live in the saddest. So keep that in mind.
By the way, thanks for the $5 super chat. No comment, just pure love and the support of the show. By the way, go over and show my brother some love over there on Fearless's channel too. I appreciate
you. Look at me, man. I'm looking jacked up right now.
Yeah, man. That fool is over there getting all kind of allergy shots and forgot to take his allergy medicine. He showed me a picture where he looked like he got fucked up. Like somebody wore his ass out.
Man,
He was
I
all
sent him
swole
a
up.
picture yesterday. Yeah, I said, man, I'm getting a divorce. Like, what you talking about? I was like, man, you see what happened to me? So I'll show
This
y'all
shit is
real quick.
funny as
This
hell.
man.
Look at this fool, man. It looks like somebody just wore his ass out in a back alley somewhere, man.
So yeah,
By the way,
I'm trying to get over.
Like I said, the panel is open for the next 5-6 minutes, and you're more than welcome to hit the panel and come up and talk about the subject. No problem. You know, we're in here for an hour, no more, no less.
Yeah, so I wanted to get rid of my allergy. So they told me to bring in the antihistamine. I was like, I don't need that, man. I'm strong. That stuff. I came home. I was looking crazy. I looking like Uncle Ruckus, brother. So it's trying to wear up.
Ray
But,
Money said
yeah, I'm
his
glad-
body is his temple. I can squat over 300 pounds, ass to grass, run 5 miles at a whim, and biohack to prevent disease specifically to my phenotype. Yeah. And I can tell, brother, like, here's the thing. And I've said this many a year, man. I'm 6'2", 295 pounds. Okay. In my younger years, yeah, I was lean and mean. I got a bigger body mass. I carry more muscle on my body. I am not a European standard. Sorry. We just not going to be that way. And I'm sorry, they trying to force black people into a European standard. You're not. Look at those football players on the football field. You think they all going to shrink down to European standard? Hell no, no fucking way. There's more than one way to be healthy without necessarily have to be skin and fucking bones. So eat right. Make sure your cholesterol, your blood pressure is down. You're eating the right type of things. You're not overeating on your carbs and sugars and things like that. And yeah, you could be a big guy and still live a healthy ass life.
And I got something to say about this. And I think this is true. Black Travel says, my old man birthed me at 60 and he lived until he was 94. So that means, just imagine this. And people always say, oh man, you're having a child when you're older. But that gives somebody something to look forward to. You know, when his dad was probably 70, he was only 10. So he's still vibrant. He got to be vibrant. He got somebody to come home to. Even when he 80, he still got somebody to come home to. He's like, oh, my child is this. So it gives it some purpose to live.
To look forward to. Yes.
Correct.
A lot of people die when they go into retirement because they're bored. They don't have nothing to look forward to in life.
They said the average age that you live after retirement is 5 years, and it's not due to health. It's just they don't have anywhere to go anymore. They never had a life outside of the job, never had friends really outside. You say, oh, those are my friends, but the only time you ever see them is at work. You never really spend time outside of the job. And then when you get rid of the job, you get rid of the friends, you get rid of the people, you get rid of that social climate. So I think people need that to go to. And that's important. And I think another thing, what happened, we didn't talk about it. You know, somebody has kids in their 20s and they like, oh, they may have a few, but then that other generation don't have no kids because they're like, I don't need no man. I ain't having no kids. So your kid is older and you don't have no grandkids because they're not having kids. And you're just sitting there like, oh, well,
what was all that for? Yeah, what happened? You know, what was all that for if I ain't got no kids? So thank God I got 2 grandchildren by my oldest son. So I ain't even worried.
Just ahead, turn left on Morningstar.
Okay, so we're gonna get
he's turning left on Morningstar.
Yeah, he's turning left on Morningstar. Damn. What's up, Big Dan?
What's going on? I'm moving around out here. I'm gonna make it quick. To our Ray Money, he said he want to live to 120, right? You gotta do like my grandmother did. My grandmother was 80 years old. I used to stay at my grandmother's house down in Florida. She used to say, oh, I wish the Lord would come on and take me. She rocked on another 16 years. She died till she was 96.
That's a blessing.
And she used to say that all the time. I wish the Lord would come on and take me.
Shit.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, when I go, ain't gonna be a dime left.
Oh shit. Do you have any kids?
I'm gonna spend it all. Listen, I got my insurance plan.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 2 kids. I got everything set up for them.
There you go.
But other than what I got set up for them, ain't gonna be a dime left. I'm spending it all.
Ain't no wrong with that.
What? And you know, Shannon Sharp wasn't the first person I heard say that, but when he said it, it stuck out in my mind. He said, "For what? Leave all this money for them to fight over it?"
Right. Well, like I say, you can put it in a trust, and I'm going to have a series about trust here in the future, but and that can dictate how people get allowances, properties get paid for taxes and all that. But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people don't have anything to leave it to. And I've watched families destroy legacies in moments after the person is dead.
Guns, that's really what insurance is for.
Yeah.
You live your life and you do that and you spend your money and then you have your life insurance for when you die. So you enjoy it and you say, well, I'm gone. My life insurance is going to take care of you. And so you're taking care of that next generation, but you enjoyed your life while you were here. But a lot of people don't have that life insurance, man.
Exactly.
I don't, I hope that my wife don't have to sell t-shirts to bury me. That's not what we're trying to do.
GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy. Let's say that out loud.
Correct.
Car washes and food drives are not a life insurance policy.
Right.
The Gans, we got a question for you. The topic of the show is the old people stealing just so they can have companionship when they're old in Japan, because that's what's happening. So what do you think a solution to that is, for these women who don't need a man, boss bees, don't need nobody? And that's kind of what's going on in Japan. They got to 80 something years old and now they have nobody around and they're actually doing petty thefts just to go to jail to have companionship. What's the solution before it gets to the United States?
Well, I don't know the solution to that, but I said a long time ago, and that goes for these single mothers out here. You talking about you don't need no man. That man includes your son. So since you don't need a man to be with, don't be putting your sons through all this nonsense and burden, doing all this stuff for you that your husband would do because you said you don't need no man.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I want to jump back over to one other thing y'all was talking about with the older ladies out here. I tried to type it in the chat, but I guess whatever I wrote, YouTube wouldn't post it. I just ran into a girl I went to high school with. Now, she looked good. She was bad in high school. I was after her in high school, and she still looked good to this day. Now, I'm 53 years old, and she was 2 years ahead of me. So that puts her at about 55, 56, right? And she still looked good. But at this point, I would tell her, listen, I ain't got nothing for you, but I could drop something off in your pants. But other than that, we ain't doing nothing else.
Wait a minute. You can offer her companionship.
No, I ain't got.
But that's all she can get. That's all she can get, some companionship.
I ain't got time for companionship. You know what I'm saying? I come by, I give you what you need, then I go. I give you what you need, and then I go about my way. I ain't got time to be sitting around here talking and yeah.
He offering the DICK. That's all he got for it. And I feel you, bro.
That's it. That's all I got.
What up, panel?
Yeah.
Salute, Ray.
How you doing, Ray?
Super chat.
What up,
Yo, your brother? Where you been, man? Where you been at, man? You been out there grinding? What you been doing, man?
He been grinding. I seen him. I told him I seen him on his.
You over there in monk mode? You over there dropping weight, working out? What you doing, bro?
Yeah, he was on the stepper over there trying to get his workout in, give us some knowledge.
Yeah, I've been.
Ray, let me get up out of here because I'm grinding. But I'm in the chat. I'm listening.
All right, brother. We ain't gonna stay on too much longer, but we appreciate it, my brother.
All right.
Yeah, I've been on a little bit of a hiatus from YouTube just because I'm the type of person that really needs to focus on something whenever I got a challenge ahead of me. And the holiday season was very challenging. And I got gifted a truck, Lexus GX 470. So a lot of my time has been spent working on that truck. So like I put a lift kit on it. Right now I'm going to Toyota to grab some fluids for the truck. So just really learning about that truck, learning about Toyotas in general, Lexus and Toyotas, to try to work on that shit myself. So I haven't had any time to really make any content or even thinking about, getting on YouTube. So this is my first time showing my face on YouTube, probably in like 3 months. So
yeah, we know.
But look, I wanted to comment on the something that Fearless said he had mentioned about the topic of the show and these Japanese women that are stealing stuff just so they can find companionship overseas. I'm sorry, in jail. And like Fearless, you had mentioned like, what's the solution? I don't think there is a solution. Have you ever seen like a documentary on the way those jails look in Japan? Like they're fed three square meals. They're comfortable. You know, they work a job like a 40-hour work week. So yeah, I think that's where they want to be, you know, but that's where women in this country are going to wind up finding themselves too, you know, just because of just how society kind of, or how they position themselves within society. Number one. Number two, they outlive men statistically. So, yeah, it's just a challenge for them, especially when all the men in their lives that have been providing for them just die off.
Right.
Yeah. But, you know, do you think that these women now, where they say, I'm a boss B, I don't need anybody, that's great when you're in your 40s and maybe even in your 50s, you know, but when you start getting a little bit up in age, when you don't need nobody and you're all alone, it doesn't really matter how nice the facility is. You know, it's just it's not really companionship. It's just associates. You only know them people from jail.
Right.
Yeah. They're going to be spreading cat food on their Ritz crackers and their fucking.
Damn, that's so fucked up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's
Lord
sad.
Jesus,
That is sad, my brother.
Hey,
but
man,
I know we're not going to stay. Yeah, we're not going to stay too much longer. I got work to do. You know, I was delayed because they was.
I had to get this fool off the goddamn conference call just to get this in.
Goodness gracious, they wanted to talk their ears off today. But brother, one thing I will say is, man.
All right, Ray.
What I liked about hold up, Ray, before you go, what I did like, man, you was and I think you can still do it. I know you say you don't have no time, but you was on that stair stepper making content. So you can always find time. You can multitask. I think you were doing good there. You were staying in shape, focused, and giving out good knowledge. So if you can't find no time, maybe when you exercising and walking, that might be a great time because that's when you get your best ideas.
I appreciate that, Phyllis. Thank you for that feedback. And yeah, man, I think it's a combination of time and motivation, right? So you got to be motivated to make the content. Got to have the time to do it and sit and think about how you're going to present yourself. And I don't know, I just haven't had the motivation to do it over the holiday season. You know,
nothing wrong with you got to stay focused on certain.
Exactly. Yeah. But fellas, I'm about to go to the car wash. So I'll holler. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, brother. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, man.
Well, great, man. I think we right at a little bit over an hour. I think it was a great show. I think there's some things to think about. I think one thing we got to think about is we don't have a solution, man, which is sad. We really don't have any type of solution.
Well, they don't. I do. I think you have a plan.
Yeah,
but we're
not the world, man.
Here's the thing: we need to get y'all educated and up to thinking about these are the type of topics we're bringing up to get y'all thinking in a longer term mode. Because here's the thing, man: if you say you love your mama or you love your daddy, what are you planning on doing with them? Are you planning on just having them die alone in a house somewhere where they get found a week later? How often do you even talk to your parents?
Correct.
When's the last time you had a conversation with them? And even a real conversation. I had a conversation with mom. I have a power of attorney for her living power of attorney. I have a death power of attorney. I know how she wants to be buried. I've had all kind of conversations with my mother. I know if she wants to live on a ventilator, if she wants me to pull the motherfucking plug. I know all that because I've had conversations. How many of y'all actually had conversations with your family members that you love or you claim to love so much that you honor and you live for their future as their legacy? How much are you really understanding what their needs are and what their wants are as they get older and maybe they can't support themselves anymore? How much are you willing to put in for that family member that you love so much?
Two things on that, brother. The first thing is you doing that for your mother, which is great. What we not doing is what we doing for ourselves. So what if you pass away? Who's going to take care of you? Have you had that conversation with your children? You know, because we talk about it with our family, but we need to also have that with our children or just family members. Like you said,
y'all know.
I've seen it go awry, man. I just had to bury a niece.
You're not promised to open your eyes up. So,
No.
cremate my ass, spread my ass in the ocean. I don't even want to fucking stone anywhere. Stone my ass.
But here's the Paul Miner. This is what I wanted to say. He said people's conversations are too tough for most. Just because you talking to somebody about death don't mean they die tomorrow. You just got the best time to talk about death is when you vibrant. You don't want to have that conversation when they're sitting on their deathbed and their mind is going out. So have that conversation now. Say, look, I just want to know your wishes and have an end of life plan. And as you just said, how many of y'all calling your mothers? How many of us are calling our families so that we don't have to steal to get into jail?
Right.
Because I don't, that's not good.
That's an extreme, serious extreme.
Yes. But it comes down to people don't have health care. You can't afford health care. At least the prison will give it to me.
Right. And some of this is even with these women. I'm curious to understand how many of them actually have children and what the fuck is going on with their kids if their kids don't care about their mothers like that. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you have to be a son husband to love the woman that gave birth to you. You get what I'm saying? You're just not under her fucking foot, but you can still love on your moms. You get what I'm saying?
But it's a cycle, man. If that mother ain't loving her mother, how she think her kid is gonna love her? It's the cycle that's broken.
Yeah.
And we're in with Stephen Smith. He says, men, we retire, stop working, and we die.
Facts.
Truth. I told you the average lifespan of somebody who retires is 5 years. And with that said, fellas, man, think about it. Stay in it. Don't be like Japan. We'll see you next week or maybe this week. We'll see you in another hit and run.
Well, you're definitely going to see us on Lions Den. I don't know if we're going to do a Thursday night therapy session this week. We might need to take a break, but we'll pick that back up next week. But we are going to have a Lions Den on Friday. Stay tuned for the topic, but I'm sure immigration is going to be a part of it because Black Man Travels is really enthusiastic about the immigrant situation that's going on, being that he's the first generation immigrant.
I used to think this, and now I'm going to end with this. I promise. It says we came alone and we died and we go alone. I think that is not true. After I seen my wife with my baby, meaning for the 9 months that she was there, she talked to her, came in as soon as she was born. Everybody was around her. People came up. So maybe just that going alone, but she was born surrounded with family. And I hope that when she goes, she'll be surrounded with family. So yeah, that may be a true statement. We say we come alone and we die alone. But if it's nurturing, you was never alone. Somebody was talking to you inside the womb, outside the womb. So I think that's one of our problems. We think that we got to be alone as men. And we go to a cubby hole or a man cave and call it up. Stay fearless and travel like Ronan, baby. Till next time. Subscribe, man. If you still here, subscribe.
Hit the like button. Goddamn.
The like button. Watch us on rewatch it. Something. Damn it. Goodness.